Hello, dear Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right? Yeah. It's the Joy of Being live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Folks, very happy to be here with you as always. You know what's the deal? I am delighted. Folks, let me know where are you at and what are you grateful for? What am I grateful for? Grateful for a good puppy and feeling good too. I just realized something. I was like, this feels different. Something's different. And I realized the camera's much closer than it usually is, which is actually fine. I think it's in focus. I'm surprised it's in focus, but whatever. Folks, the point is, I'm happy to be here with you. Tell me where you're at and what are you grateful for? And then we'll go from there. It does seem strange though. Maybe it's a little large and in charge. Well, you know why that is, right? You do know why things would be so far off. Because I was playing VR and I bumped into my whole streaming setup, so it smashed the whole thing into oblivion, into its current position. Jean, welcome from Brooklyn. Grateful for second jab. Great, you got your Fauci ouchie all set and completed. Congratulations, very happy for you. Let's see, Julia Temple from Vienna. I got to come visit you in Vienna. I haven't been to Vienna. Sounds lovely. There's so many places. I want to go to all of them. Grateful for mindfulness habits kicking in during sleep paralysis. Excellent. You know, I've never had sleep paralysis, and I'm sorry because I know that's not fun. But I do know that people who have often have lucid dreaming have sleep paralysis, and you can do a lot of crazy meditation stuff in dreaming in your dreams. Chris Ingram, Guatemala, grateful for fasting. Lovely. Tell me about your fast. Is it a water fast? Is it a nothing fast? Is it a just an intermittent fast? Just waiting like I do. I wait until noon to eat. Tell me about that fast. Folks, excited today because we're going to meditate, although I'm curious of what we're going to meditate on. I know that's a little bit poor planning, but the fact is that I often don't know. I could do exactly what I feel like doing, but I don't know what you want me to do. I know Fridays is where we really come up with a new meditation that hasn't existed before, which P.S. this Saturday, I realize I'm going to ask this person if there's a link that I could share for this thing. I'm going to be teaching on Clubhouse. Where is this this person. I was texting with him yesterday. And he invited me to do at his clubhouse. I'm asking if there's a link to the room. Thanks for that patience. Very exciting, folks. Very exciting. What on earth is going on? Okay, so what are we going to do today, folks? We're going to meditate on what? What's the topic? Okay, Julia says you totally should visit. Funny enough, the sleep paralysis was unpleasant ending was the unpleasant ending to the pleasure of dreams about moving to Manhattan. Interesting. You know, hey, sometimes your dreams about moving to Manhattan can be pleasant too. I think that rent prices are going down a bunch because of COVID, so prices in Manhattan are not so bad. Plus, I think prices in the Upper West Side are actually kind of inexpensive, but I live in Brooklyn. I recommend Brooklyn personally. Brooklyn is I feel like Brooklyn is like, maybe this is what Manhattan wants to be without all the like hustle and bustle and clam and blam. But whatever, you should totally, well, I was going to say you should totally move, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like New York's not the right place. I feel like it's not necessarily the right place for me, let alone for you. So I really couldn't say. But folks, what's going on? What do we want to do? Meditation-wise, what do we want to do? This is all messed up. Everything's like at the wrong angle now. Everything's so tightly packed because it's like it's a live stream. So everything's like slightly wrong angles now that I got banged. All right, let's meditate. I could just make it up as we go. Or if you have any specifics that you want to work on, let me know now, and we'll go from there. I really meant the kind of dream, I really meant the kind of dream in my sleep, not that I'm opposed to New York when awake. Well, that's what I thought. I thought you were just hating on New York. Just kidding. Kind awareness practice, Chris Ingram says, great. So we'll do we'll definitely work with kind awareness and as a kind of, I'm assuming you mean as a kind of metta or loving kindness practice. And what else do we want to dig into? Yeah, okay, so let's look at it here. Nate says, let's meditate about not shaming ourselves so hard about our vices. Great. Not a parts meditation. Nate says, no parts meditation. Not a parts meditation where we recognize and see the part that committed the vice, but an overall, it's too big, it's no big deal thing. Okay, so just so you know, Nate, the parts meditation that one would want to do with that, what you're describing, is befriending and understanding the part that wants to do the whatever habit is, have the, donut, have the drink, whatever the bad habit is. We want to find the part that wants that thing and give it understanding and say, I get you, I understand you. Usually what we think is we can't understand or accept that part because then it'll just go crazy. It's not really how it works. It's trying to find a solution. And it's going to hijack the whole system if we don't pay attention to it. So what we might do is a kind awareness practice in relationship to the parts of us that we, that have impulses, maybe that have drives, and then have acceptance with those parts. We're trying to befriend those parts. I quite enjoyed the part whole on Friday. Okay, not that we have to do the same thing again. I thought you were going to say not the other one from Wednesday with the one on, anyway. Okay, folks, we're going to meditate for 25 minutes. I just did a guided meditation today from a friend that was an hour long, so no one's allowed to complain that it's 25 minutes. Trust me, you'll survive. I've never lost one yet. I'm going to encourage you to practice in stillness, so find a position that you can maintain without moving for the duration of the sit, and then we'll go from there. Beep, pop, pop, beep, pop, pop, pop is, okay, so find that nice, comfortable position. And when you're ready, we're going to begin. I got to remember to start recording again because I haven't been recording in a while. And I fall out of the habit, and then when I need to record, I forget. So I need to start recording again, even if I don't think I'm going to need the meditation. But guess what? So many times I don't record, and I'm like, oh, I should have recorded that. That was such a good meditation. I was such a brilliant teacher. Okay, so the point is that find a comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. We're going to do some kind awareness, and we're going to be checking in with parts that tend to have impulses. Impulsive parts. Impulsive parts, impulsive parts. Okay, find that nice comfy position, folks. Turn your phone off. Take your final sips of your cloudy water. And when you're ready, we will begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. When we begin a meditation, we begin with the momentum of all of the previous moments. So, all of the busyness of our week, of our month, of this day, whatever's been going on, this is the mind that we arrive to this moment with. And the way that we step out of all of this momentum is by paying attention to this particular moment. So, as we physically relax the body, I'd like you to take in your overall sense experience. We're going to be doing a whole part meditation to begin, meaning we're going to be creating a capture, a kind of snapshot of all of our experience as one big soft category. So you can go ahead and enter into that now. In the background, I'll be guiding through physically relaxing the body, but we don't have to let go of the overall in order to relax the body as we move through. So relaxing the head, including the muscles behind the eyes, letting the eyes themselves fall back into the skull just a few millimeters. Relaxing the face, the back of the tongue. Relaxing the throat and neck. Relaxing the shoulders. The arms. And relaxing the hands. Tuning into the subtle sensations in the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers. Letting them relax out into the whole, into the totality. When we hold the mind open, effectively when we hold the mind in awareness, it's as though there's this great sphere, all of our sense experience and things that happen within it are little particles floating. So when we relax, let's say the shoulders and the upper chest and upper back. We can relax outward into this totality. Relax the belly and the lower back. Relax the legs. And relax the feet. And now that we've relaxed the major muscle groups of the body, let's see if we can relax all of the micro muscles, the place where the muscles themselves meet the bone, the fascial tissue, releasing so deeply that the edge of the body doesn't need to stay where it's supposed to be. The body can just become soft. And part of this process of finding an overall experience is to relax the mind. We could say relax the core of the mind. The mind will grip onto thoughts. We'll think this meditation is supposed to go this way, or there's this distraction, it shouldn't be here. And this is simply the mind gripping. Not a problem. But we relax the mind into our overall experience. What is the totality? Whatever particle or piece of thinking arises, so maybe a sensation in the hand or a thought about the future, just releasing that into the overall experience, relaxing the mind and letting the mind take in our general total experience. And as we connect with this open awareness, recognizing that this awareness itself, this knowing of the mind, doesn't need anything to be different. It doesn't matter what arises, this mind simply knows it. In this way, this mind is deeply compassionate, this awareness. Deeply caring, deeply kind. Noticing that this gentle awareness simply knows experience without judging or wanting it to be different. And of course, there are parts of us that want things to be different, and those aren't bad. They're simply nature. But this kind awareness can take in any of those experiences, any part of us. Letting this kind, spacious awareness broadcast the message. It's going to say some words. And we can pick what those words are, but I'll give some examples. So this kind awareness may broadcast to the whole system, to the whole body-mind. It might say, "May you be peaceful. May you be peaceful." Or perhaps it says, "I see you. I see you." Or perhaps it simply says, "Hello. Hello." Simply greeting every experience with this warm, kind awareness. Letting the phrase ring out through our experience. I see you. Let it be heard and felt and seen everywhere. Hello. Hello. Whatever our phrase is, just picking one, no big deal. And recognizing that this kind awareness, this can be a kind of home, a place where we might reside, return to and rest within. And in fact, over time, we may recognize that this kind, spacious awareness is actually us. It's actually the seat of consciousness. Our true being. But if that doesn't ring true in this moment, don't worry about it. Just cultivating the sense that we may be able to rely on this experience. Just possibly. whatever arises, simply introducing it back to this kind awareness. In this case, what we've been calling the whole, the overall, this is this kind awareness. Notice that this awareness can effectively see through any experience, anything that feels solid or stable. This kind awareness is like a universal solvent, like a mist that can permeate any sense experience. It can even permeate and float right through our experience of what we call the self. So no matter what solid experience arises, if it's a sensation in the body, if it's a thought, memory, planning, fantasy, if it's an emotion in the body or anything at all, the mind will treat this as solid, a thing. But we're simply going to notice this quality of this kind awareness, like a mist permeating, infusing whatever solid experience arises. Noticing it even a little bit within the experience. Introducing it back to the whole, the totality. Hello. Hello. Being sure to include any sense of me, I, to include any sense of assessment. This is going wonderfully, this is going terribly. To include even the thinking and understanding mind. Often we forget about that. All of these are simply parts. Introducing them back to the whole. Touching into that nature, that kind, accepting, spacious nature of this awareness. And perhaps even letting that spacious awareness come in contact with parts of us that feels separate. The part of us that craves and wants. Typically, these parts aren't used to having contact with anything outside of their own little universe, their own little view. And that's a central part of healing, is introducing the aspects of ourself that feel separate back to the totality. And what can happen sometimes if we bring up any particular self, especially ones who are challenged. Identification can occur in these various selves. Will take over. They'll seem like they become us. We can tell that if there's a sense of me at the center, and that me that has arisen has those views of that self, those emotions, those needs, those fears and insecurities. In other words, it only knows how to feel separate. So once again, allowing this kind awareness to permeate, to show this particular part or self the path back to the whole. And this may be no issue, this may be easy and simple. Or we may find that a particular part of us, a particular self, struggles with this process. It just feels separate, divided. So we want to meet that with understanding, not try to force it to merge with the overall experience, just to give it understanding. I see you. I see you. I understand that you feel separate. That makes a lot of sense. And simply befriend, make space for whatever part has arisen. We don't need to force it to be anything other than it is, and at the same time we can hold it in a spacious awareness, giving it the option of expanding or opening or merging if it would like to. But there's no pressure. Sometimes letting it simply be in the background and returning to our practice can be helpful. No need for that part to change. Opening up awareness to our overall experiencing. Once again, just taking in all of our experience, letting go of needing to do anything. Letting go of any need to practice or to understand. And staying with this as we allow a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes. And as the eyes eventually find a single point that they can rest on, and the eyes fully open, allowing the spaciousness of seeing to expand the spaciousness of awareness. And letting that opening, that spaciousness in this particular moment be the great teacher. Here we are, sitting with our eyes open as we do much of our day. The only difference being a willingness to be present with spacious awareness. So in that way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher that shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay, so I'm adjusting the body any way you'd like. A little stretchy doodle. Crack, crack, crack. Whatever would be comfortable for the body. And now's the fun part. Now's the part where we get to chit-chat like kitty cats and talk about what on earth that was like. Folks, we are working on making our Discord really cool and really great. There we go. There's the link. Just so you know, if Chris, if you do ! for like Q&A, as in this whole prompt comes up with the links and everything. So Christian's going to try. Chris is going to try to jump on Discord. Anyone else is welcome to use your voice for that same purpose. We're even going to have it set up so that when people jump on Discord, it'll even give you a little recording that says, okay, now time to switch your audio and all that stuff. Good times. So I'm excited about that. Okay. And in the meantime, folks, use those digits, use that digital technology right at your fingertips, the digital technology that is your fingertips, and go ahead and write down your experience, what that was like, what happened, and what you're like now. And I'm going to try to see if we can get Chris on the line. And if anyone else wants to jump in, you can 100% feel free. Chris, if you wouldn't mind switching your audio over to just Discord, that would be lovely. That way there won't be a big old feedback loop. And here we go. Okay, Chris, can you hear me? I do not hear Chris. I'm going to check my settings one last time. Audio, video. No, output should be correct. Let's try one more thing. If anyone else wants to jump on, it would be a great service. Mic test, yes. Can I check the audio, though? No. Check, check. Okay, I'm fixing Discord. Hello. Check, check. Okay, lovely. If somebody's open to it, that would be delightful, as always. Okay. Perfection. Let's see. Sure. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, great. So, folks, excellent. Chris says he cannot hear. Well, I'm very sorry, but Chris, we've had so many tech problems on your side, and oh, here's Nate. Okay, we're going to see if we can work with Nate. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room here, Chris, and we'll go from there. Hello, Nate. Can you hear me? You are muted, by the way, Nate. Nate, it says that your headphones, you're deafened and you're muted. So I think you can undeafen yourself and unmute. So you're in the channel. So as soon as you want to, just start chatting as soon as you get yourself figured out. And we'll go from there. Switching platforms is hard. Okay. I'm going to read other people's things, and then we'll see if we can get this worked out. And that is not where I wanted to be. I want to be on my channel. Here we go. Check. No.
Hear me?
Oh, I do. Nate, I just heard you.
Sounds good.
Excellent. All right. Do you have a report? What was that meditation like?
That meditation was at first calming, then a lot of stress, and for a while a lot of questioning, and then an awareness sort of moving around my body and trying to work to sort of stay with my awareness, but relaxed body parts that became heavily sort of knotted. Mm-hmm. When I felt my awareness move, or what I consider maybe my awareness move around my body, that part of my body would sort of tense up, and those went away. And then I sort of asked myself, is my awareness capable of saying, I see you? Is it really our awareness that's saying that? Or is our awareness just accepting it, and another self is what is saying it? And ended sort of with sort of an equanimity, but not an answer to the question that I asked myself.
My perspective in that moment is actually more, is the part that needs to know that. Usually that's just the understanding self. And I think that this is an important thing that's like, it's really tough to convey, because it takes a degree of like hand waving, and it can sound a little dismissive. So I want to like say this and not have it sound like, like tough luck, here's a terrible answer. That there's basically what happens is, at some point, experiencing just has to outstrip understanding. There's just no way around it. So it's sort of unsatisfying, because what can happen is we have the experience where, we want to get a certain part, we want to do it just right, we want to kind of understand it, but that need will get in the way of the experience itself. So we want to do enough of that we can navigate the practice, but also know that sometimes people could think it's so precise, it's exactly on this little cusp, and if it's not exactly there, and that's not really true. It's actually pretty broad. In the grossest sense, if we're introducing any sort of small piece to the larger experience, then we're doing great. That's a fantastic practice in and of itself. The thing is that awareness cuts through everything. So when we say, is it awareness saying this, or is it awareness is in everything. It's in the saying, it's in the intending, it's in the non-saying, it's everywhere. There's no place that it doesn't exist. So the idea that it would be separate from the saying is, it doesn't quite make sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, like in like someplace like Southeast Asia, they just wouldn't even let you ask the question. They just be like, keep practicing, like you're thinking too much or whatever, which I find that a little annoying. So that I don't want to imply that. And just know that, you know, it was pretty late in my practice that I realized that there was a self that wanted to understand the whole experience and was always there like a thin layer managing. And I thought that was me, like that was the true me. And actually it was just this part that was like scared that if it didn't understand, it would be not okay, etc. So that was very helpful for me to see and realize that there's a level of just experiencing that I could have that didn't require me to get what was going on.
I appreciate that sort of scaffold or outline, even though it's not something that I feel like I'm, to steal a word, aware of. I feel that sort of a basic understanding of that might sort of help some questioning that's going to happen down the road.
Totally.
So I appreciate that. Thanks.
And then the last thing I'll just add really quick is that once the experiencing outstrips the understanding, ironically, we understand. The mind will understand it, but until we can really experience it, it's you know, it's just faith basically. So we just want to have the emphasis be more on the experiencing, and then, you know, understanding comes from that.
The going through a door and then realizing there was no door kind of metaphor.
Sure. Or like, I mean, you've heard me before use the taste of a strawberry thing. Like we can talk all day long and be like, well, how is it possible that it's both, you know, tart and sweet? Like that's just not possible. Those are two different things. And it's like, but they're words and it doesn't matter because the experience is real. You know, like the experience is very real. So just, again, just work on the experience. And then all of a sudden understanding is like, oh, of course, sweet and tart could go together. Like that's the most obvious thing in the world, even though on paper it seems like they couldn't.
Understood. Yeah.
Great.
A metaphor I use for comparative religions that I'm trying to hone so that I can use it on my family is about the sunset. Every single person in the world has a way to describe the sunset. There's pictures been drawn of the sunset. There's different languages used to describe the sunset. And yet the experience is a completely different thing
than the description.
No. And the experience is completely the same for every single person. To some degree, I guess the awareness of the experience or the sensory awareness of the experience is something that is different than how every single person describes it, but they're describing the same thing. I'll make it that easy and shut up.
And also even like before we get there, like does everyone have the same experience? Because that opens up a philosophical kind of can of worms. We can say every one of those descriptions is not the sunset. And it's, as humans, we tend to be like, no. That description, the drawing, the thing, the words, like those sort of are the sunset. It's like, nope, that there's a thing that is different than those words. And that's a lot of what we're struggling with.
Oh,
yeah,
Thank
nice.
you.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. You can switch audio now. Excellent. Well, guys, we have a big news, which is that Discord actually worked. That is very good news. This is bad news for Chris because that means that a lot of the technical difficulties are on your end. Julia says,
First half, pleasant mood, good concentration. Second half, some sadness, dullness and yawning.
Interesting.
Sadness turned into feeling of physical heaviness, being pressed into my chair. Small amount of kriyas during the entire sit. Now I still feel dull but also slightly agitated.
Interesting. So I just want to compare here because you have a similar symmetry to what Nate described, which is things were going pretty well. And I wonder, I mean, I have a pretty good guess here, but as we started to talk about the parts that might be challenged or challenging, if those things arose. And what that typically means is that that's part of the work, that challenge, that, you know, resolving that relationship, working through the parts that dull us and through the parts that, you know, make us foggy. That's the way that we unpack that material in a way that's transformative for us and others, etc. So hopefully that's helpful. Jean says the following.
Some mundane-ish details, I didn't move much but was aware of smaller, more subtle movements such as leaning back or forward, or a slight head tilt. Generally I felt much more physically grounded than usual, which led to a really strong sensation of being in touch with awareness.
Nice.
I did space out a few times, imagining a few scenarios, but I was able to come back. Looking forward to a redo, though I feel very peaceful now.
Nice. Well, that's great. Good news then. Okay, Chris said the following.
I had a great experience of observing the part that gives sensations a location and meaning, trying to open that to the overall experience.
Nice. Okay, great. And we didn't see you on Discord, but that's okay. That no big deal. Daniel Ingram, different Daniel Ingram, not the one many know. Daniel says,
I felt a little uneasy throughout the whole meditation, especially around my stomach. I always have trouble relaxing my belly.
great.
I also have the tendency to try to push out bad thoughts or try to bury them.
Got it.
I had some success with using kind awareness, but I still need practice. I had trouble keeping concentration at the end because I was near a window where the sun hit me directly, and after 20-something minutes my body was getting very hot and couldn't ignore it anymore.
Got it. Got it. And, you know, I mean, it's worth saying that I say practice in stillness. And there is the caveat, which is, hey, this isn't working. There's, you know, it's sunny right now, and you just reach and grab the thing and you cover yourself or pull the shade or whatever, and you go back to practice. Like if it really isn't working and you're just fighting that, that's okay to make that adjustment. So you felt a little uneasy throughout the meditation, especially in your stomach. So what it's likely the case is, whether it's emotion or not, you're holding some tension in the stomach. And it's not uncommon that many people hold a lot of emotion in the stomach. The lower part of the diaphragm, can often be like a place where people will protect against vulnerability, these kind of things. Not that surprisingly, in our culture, holding your stomach in is a sign of like, you know, attractiveness and strength. So often people can like constantly be doing that. So what I sometimes will recommend to relax the belly is to relax the tailbone so deeply that in the lower diaphragm, so deeply that it just requires the belly to kind of open up. Just a pro tip. And then let's see. Had some success with kind awareness. Yeah, and keep in mind that the kind awareness understands that you can't let go of your belly, or that you're having racing thoughts, or that you're, you know, feeling uneasy. Like the kind awareness is just like, okay, cool. And the kind awareness doesn't prefer one thing or the other. So if there is a preference, we know that that's an experience of a self. And I think maybe that's a little bit of an answer to what Nate was talking about. Like, is it the awareness that's saying this? Well, keep in mind that the term we're using for awareness is the same. We're using it as a generic or general term, which also means, like in some traditions it's called Buddha nature, and some traditions it's called the seat of awareness, the seat of being, true self, these kind of things. So you know that it's awareness if it doesn't need something to be different. So it can say things, but if it needs it to be different, if it's like, may you be peaceful, it's like, come on, be peaceful, like, well, that's probably not awareness. If it just says, you know, welcome, and it's like, doesn't need whatever receives that to be welcome, it just is saying it, and if it wants to receive it, it can, then we know we're in awareness. And preferring is such a strong indication of whether it's awareness or whether it is not. That's really helpful. Okay, Chris said he's going to try something. Okay, that's not happening. So Julia then says the following.
Some retreats encourage sleeping very little. How do you feel about that? What are the pros and cons of sleep deprivation with respect to meditation?
Well, keep in mind that often retreats the thing is that retreats are mimicking monastic life. So in some cases, there's different motives. One motive can be that we don't need a lot of sleep because we're resting so much every day. We're just practicing and resting, and so we're doing so little. We also often need very few calories. Often on retreat, I manage my sleepiness by reducing calories, and suddenly the system wakes up because it's not trying to digest all that food. I'm doing very little. You're doing sometimes very, very little during the day, so you couldn't possibly need like massive amounts of calories. Some people it's different, but that's my experience. So we have to keep in mind that it's a very different experience, and so it might be, it's not like normal physiology where you say, what do you think about sleep deprivation in everyday life? What I would also say that in everyday life, man, no amount of meditation is going to have the effect of like a good night's sleep. or a good night's rest is probably more accurate. So we want to train ourselves to be able to rest, not necessarily sleep, but rest if we can. I think I made a video. No, I didn't. This is on Brightmind. Brightmind app. They asked me to do a sleep series, and I did a series that talks about this. But you got to get sleep. You have to sleep. Just, like when I go to meditation retreats and they're like, okay, we're switching our schedule. Everyone's getting up at 5 a.m. I just can't do it the first day. The first day I have to sleep in, I get rest, etc., and then sleep, nap during the day, and then I go, get up early after that. But it's also the fact that typically when I'm getting up early like that, I'm resting later in the day. It just takes a long time for the system to switch its whole clock. And I never quite understood why on a week-long retreat they would like so radically try to switch everyone's sleep schedule, because it's like we're not switching our whole lives. We don't, unless they're like trying to maximize daylight hours or something like that. It never made sense to me. However, when we are sleepy, there's certain aspects that come along with that, which is physical relaxation is one of them. Fogginess of mind is the one that's typically kind of the hardest to deal with. And then there's the part of us that just like feels yucky because it's like awake. It's like, oh, just go. And like all this pressure feels like it's like trying to make us go horizontal. So, Shinzen has a great essay, From Fuzz to Buzz. The first person to post that link in the chat wins a big fat, high five from me. But it's an excellent essay. It has all of the sort of punchlines of how to manage sleepiness, but you're talking more about intentional sleep deprivation. In a Zen retreat, for instance, it's a little different because they will very intentionally disorient you and make life very, very challenging. And that's sort of part of what they're doing. The whole thing is to make, you're sort of, depending on which Zen retreat, but you're sort of eating crappy food. Sometimes you're eating like kind of literal garbage or food that's been discarded, or, and like the whole day is very rushed, and then you meditate, and then rushed, and then meditate, and then you're barely sleeping, and they have you stay up all night long. And in a way, it's to like really stress the system. So there's the only thing, what happens is, and this happens with pain too, if you sit in total stillness for long periods of time, the pain is so intense and the mind is just like, what, is there any way that I can get out of this? And it's searching and searching and searching for ways to get out of it. And suddenly it realizes, oh, if I hold this with awareness without preferring, suddenly the pain goes away. So it's a very good feedback loop, and all that discomfort from not sleeping and etc. If I can hold this with awareness, suddenly the system is free of all that clinging and all that need. So that is, Gene wins. High five, Gene. Whoopsh. Thank you for posting that link. Is what is, so all that discomfort can drive the system towards wanting relief, and that relief can drive the system towards learning about awareness. I tend to do it a little more softly than that because, you want to keep people going. And often the teachers will make mistakes that they're used to teaching on retreat. So they'll say, do this, and it's not really realistic for off retreat. So that's my short, long answer. Okay, folks, lovely as always to see you here. I got to make sure, I think I might have to jump off. Yeah, I'm going to have to go. Thank you always for being here. And thank you also, PS, for your patience. We did not have a stream Monday, even though I really wanted to, but we didn't. And that's the end of that. Thank you for your patience with that. And hopefully our alert system worked. We posted it on Discord. We posted it in the chat here. So let me know if you somehow are not connected to one of those places. And if you're not, then get connected so that you can know what the heck's going on. And then what else? Is great to see you. Great to see everyone. Great to hang out. Good times from everyone. Chris and Daniel Ingram hanging out with us here. Nate, Jean, Julia. Who else was here? Who else was here? I'm not even seeing. There's a bunch of lurkers. Welcome, lurkers. You're welcome to lurk all you want. Great to have you here, folks. You know what's true is that good time to have some fun. Exalted is just lurking. Welcome, Exalted. Great to see you, as always. Thanks for the hang, as always, really nice. And right in this particular moment, just know that you can take in whatever you're experiencing as one large collection of material. Experience that with kindness, without a need for it to be different, without a wanting for that to change. And that is a great, powerful teacher, is what that is right there. what I'm going to say is what I like to say every time. Folks, as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.